From Washington, this is VOA News. International monitoring team travels to Ukraine. South Korean ferry captain is placed under arrest, and 100 climbers now reported trapped on Mount Everest. I'm Vincent Bruce, reporting from Washington. In Ukraine, acting head of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, Mark Eteringtonom, said a monitoring mission meant to oversee an agreement for all government buildings to be evacuated and for the militants to be disarmed has already begun.
The OSCE Special Monitoring Mission has already begun work and is working as we speak. Clearly, the mission cannot substitute for political will. We will, however, encourage all parties to abide by the statement that has been made, and we will report unflinchingly what we see.
Pro-Russian militant leader Denis Pushilin in eastern Ukraine said his men are not bound by Thursday's agreement, announced following talks between Ukraine, Russia, the United States, and the European Union. The Obama administration is warning Russia that it could face additional sanctions if it fails to adhere to a new international deal on Ukraine or moves its forces on the border into eastern Ukraine. President Obama's National Security Advisor, Susan Rice, told reporters at the White House Friday that the U.S. has been clear that it and its European partners remain ready to impose additional costs on Russia if it fails to meet its obligations. More on this at voanews.com. South Korean police have formally arrested the captain and 2 crew members of a sunken ferry on charges of deserting their passengers shortly after the vessel capsized Wednesday. Among the reports in the aftermath of the incident, South Korea's Yonhap news agency said the captain is suspected of instructing passengers to remain seated even as the ferry began rolling onto its side and blocking escape routes. Investigators are alleging the 69-year-old captain failed to carry out his duty to protect passengers when, according to witnesses, he was one of the first to leave the sinking ship. The ferry went down off the southwestern island of Jindo with 476 people on board. An estimated 100 climbers on Mount Everest are now reported trapped above the site of a massive avalanche that killed at least 12 Himalayan guides early Friday. Search and rescue efforts on the world's tallest peak were set to resume Saturday. 3 other Sherpa guides were injured and 4 others remain missing in the avalanche. The incident is believed to be the worst ever climbing disaster on Mount Everest. UN officials say the death toll from a Thursday attack on a UN compound in South Sudan has risen to 58. And that more than 100 people are injured. Officials say the victims include women and children. They say many of the victims are ethnic Nuers who sought refuge at the compound in Bor after fighting erupted in the country late last year. Witnesses say the attackers apparently had been demonstrating in front of the compound before the situation turned violent. UN officials say the armed mob forced its way into the camp and shot at civilians. South Sudan Information Minister Michael Makwai said forces from the UN mission, known as UNMISS, shot bullets into the air, provoking the attack.
The UNMISS force shot bullets in the air. That shooting of bullets in the air provoked the situation. And as a result, a fight ensued between the youth, the UNMISS force, and the rebel and the IDPs on one side and the youth on the other side.
U.S. President Barack Obama Friday signed a law barring anyone from entering the United States as a UN representative if they are suspected of engaging in espionage or terrorist activity and may pose a threat to U.S. national security. The legislation is aimed at blocking Hamid Abu Talebi, an Iranian diplomat whom the U.S. alleges was involved in the 1979 seizure of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, from serving as an envoy to the United Nations. The Nigerian military has retracted a statement it made earlier this week that indicated most of the girls abducted from a secondary school had been freed. VOA's Ann Look from our West Africa Bureau.
Defense headquarters had released a statement Wednesday saying that all but 8 of the kidnapped girls were free, something relatives of the girls and school authorities said was a lie. The Defense Ministry spokesman issued a correction late Thursday, saying that his initial statement was based on faulty information and was, quote, not intended to deceive. Ann Look, VOA News, Dakar.
Central and southern Mexico was struck by a powerful 7.2 magnitude earthquake on Friday. For more on all of these stories, visit us at voanews.com 24 hours a day. I'm Vincent Bruce, VOA News in Washington.